Johnson Show. 3, 2, 1, ignition, blast off. Welcome to the Brad Johnson Show. I'm Brad Johnson, and I'm turning losers like you into winners like me. The Brad Johnson Show with your host, Brad Johnson. Get ready to start winning. And now your host, Brad Johnson.
Lead magnets. They are vital. So vital to every single internet business and business that happens to be on the internet, which is the same thing as being an internet business. And today I'm bringing to you somebody who knows lead magnets like the back of his hand, if his hand was a lead made of magnets. But his name is Brian Mark, and he gave me this little bio of him, so I thought I might just kind of read it to introduce him to the show, since you haven't heard of him before. I have, obviously, because I'm in the know about these things. But his name is Brian Mark. He's a 27-year-old business coach, young guy, for online fitness coaches. He lives in Kelowna, British Columbia, and he started his first online business in 2013. Man, I didn't even know they had internet back then. In 2013, he was working for a gym 10 to 12 hours a day, hating his life and wanting a change. Yeah, I bet all of you have been there. In the last 6 years, though, he's built a multiple six-figure fitness business, servicing thousands of people for Team A Nation. In the last year, he's focused on helping people duplicate those results as a business coach for his current company, PT Domination, which I gotta say is a lot better name than that other one. So, Brian, welcome to the Brad Johnson Show.
Dude, thanks for having me. What an intro. I feel blessed. I feel honored. I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's do it.
Well, I'm sure that's how you feel. That's how most people feel when I introduce them. I'm actually really good at it, in case you hadn't noticed.
No, it's a skill, brother. That's not an acquired skill either. You developed that over time. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain natural degree of talent definitely involved in it, but a lot of it is just hard work, and that's what this. You and I both know that's what this sort of thing is about. It's the hustle and the grind.
100%, brother. I love that.
Yeah. Okay, so if in case people couldn't tell, you're a pretty passionate guy. Like, I'm just getting that vibe right now. So I know, like, you're gonna bring so much passion to this lead magnet thing that, like, people are gonna have their socks blown off, and maybe other things too.
Yeah, I hope to blow as many things off the body as possible: hands, socks, fingers, toes, everything.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, dude. I just want to deliver the value. There's going to be a lot in here today, so let's get into it.
Awesome. Well, I think let's start a little bit with you. I really want to dig into the value, but I think so much of the value comes from who we are as people, and that's just one of my things. Some people more value than others, but definitely. So for you, starting out, you were in Canada, if I am understanding this correctly, and I actually, strange enough, I just read an article actually about Canadians, and it was asking the question, why do Canadians say A? So I was just wondering if you wanted to speak to that, because I'm assuming we might get a little bit of A here and there, and I just want to know why.
I actually think that's funny, because I never realized that Canadians do say A until I went down to America. I started traveling when I was like 25, 26, and people really started pointing it out, like, oh, you say A, like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. And I don't really know why that is, but I think it's funny when I go to America, and it's not only like you say A, but I get like weird questions, man, like, oh, sweet. Like, I used to get like, oh, you guys live in igloos, and your guys' horses, like, you guys' cops ride around on horses. Like, people take it to the extreme. So we definitely do say A, and I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, it is a thing. We do say A.
Okay. Wow. So your cops ride on horses too. That must make it really hard for them to pull people over in vehicles. Lots of well, yeah. I bet that there's not too much problem though. You Canadians have a very good reputation for being decent people and stuff. So I doubt many of you are robbing banks. Probably just getting fit like you are.
Yeah. Well, most of us are just like trying to hide away from the winters, and just hiding away in our igloos and just like saving up for the winters,
Yeah, I totally understand. That's why I live in California. So, man, okay, we need to get into these lead magnets here. But just give us, we talked a little bit about your history. So you were 2013 working in a gym, like 10 to 12 hours a day. That sounds like hell on earth, working that much.
Yeah, dude, it was not fun. So I was, I've always like had a passion for fitness. Like, I've been working out since I was 14 years old. And my mom told me that I have the gift of gab, which basically was a nice way of saying I talk a lot. So I ended up getting a job in sales for the gym. And I was their sales rep. So I was like, I was on the gym floor talking to customers, talking to new people coming in. And I always wanted to be a personal trainer because I was really passionate about like fitness and helping people. But I saw the way that trainers trained in the gym, and it just like didn't vibe with me. Like they'd sell these big packages worth like $5,000, and then the trainer would make 1,500 because a lot of it had to go to the gym, and I just never really connected with that. So even though I wanted to, start my own online bit, like I wanted to have a personal training business, I didn't want to do it in the gym, which led me to the conclusion that I had to start my own online business. So that's kind of where it started in 2013. And I knew a couple people that were into the online fitness business space. So I connected with a couple different mentors, and I reached out to a couple different people. And yeah, I really got some guidance, and they started to point me in the right direction, which kind of led me to where I am today. So yeah, it all started with like, I wanted to do it. I didn't want to be a personal trainer in a gym, and I wanted to build an online business. So I just started, I guess, throwing spaghetti at a wall and figuring out what would stick.
Man, that seems like a rather ineffective strategy, but I do want to go back to what you said about mentorship, because I think that's so important. And I think so many people do mentorship wrong. I just see people messing up with that all the time. It just drives me nuts. And I want to slap them and tell them how to do it right, because I don't know about in your case, but I know in my case, any mentor that's been less than at least $10,000 a week, like I just haven't seen it to be worth it.
So
really.
It's a lot of money for a week, but you must be hiring the wizards. The Wizard of Oz to teach you things.
Well, if you want to get to the next level, I mean, you got to have somebody who's at that next level, and somebody who's at a level beyond where I'm at. So like that's their time is valuable.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I agree, and I think that I heard a quote the other day, and it was really cool, and it was that poor people try to save money, and rich people try to save time. Poor people try to save money, and rich people try to save time.
That, yeah.
And I think that for me, when I was like coming up from I didn't really have a lot of money when I was growing up. Like my parents, it was just like money doesn't grow on trees, and I'm not a bank account and all that like scarcity stuff. So for me, hiring a mentor was just out of the question. I was like, there's no way I'm going to spend that type of money. And obviously that I'm really grateful that I got led down a path where I ended up finding the right way, but I was a lot of trial and error. And like, I've been in online business for the last 6 years. And if I would have hired a mentor, I'd be so much further ahead than I am now. So I think mentorship is so important and so powerful. And for every area of your life, man, like I have a business mentor. I have a Facebook ads mentor. I'm hiring a fitness coach. So even for me, mentorship is so important. Like if you really want to take something to the next level, you've got to be connected to somebody that's already there.
Yeah, and that's why I had my personal morning coach, because just to get my mornings on track. Like I knew they were amazing, but I just didn't realize how much more amazing I can make them with a mentor. So yeah, and he's only $12,000 a week, so that's a steal right there. Anyway, okay, Brian, I think we need to get into the lead magnets, because that's what the people are here for. We led them here with a lead magnet, therefore we need to tell them what it is, even though like it should be pretty obvious since that's why they're here in the first place. Anyway, so Brian, from your perspective, what is a lead magnet?
A lead magnet's everything you're putting onto the internet. Unfortunately, a lot of people aren't aware that they're using a lead magnet. So every piece of content that you put on the internet is going to attract a certain type of person. It's like the fact that we titled this podcast like how to write a lead magnet. Like that's going to draw in somebody that wants to learn how to write a lead magnet. You write an article titled how to get free ice cream from the grocery store. Then you're going to attract people that want to get free ice cream. But the thing is, like, a lot of people don't think about the content that they're putting on the internet. But I think that a lead magnet is essentially every piece of content that you create. Okay. And so when you're putting out your content, you really need to have the type of person that you want to work for in mind. And then when you're designing like a lead magnet, which we're going to kind of dive into a little bit deeper, you really need to think like, who is it that I'm trying to serve, and what can I put on the internet that's going to draw and magnetize them closer to me?
Yeah, okay. But I want to go back to something you said there. How do you get free ice cream from the grocery store? And up in Canada, I'd imagine there's so much ice cream just because you don't even have to keep it in a freezer.
There's an abundance. Ice cream, freezies, you name it.
Yeah, and you can steal them without having to worry because those cops can't catch you on a horse. All right, so we know what a lead magnet is now. The question becomes, and if your content is like everything you're putting up on the internet is a potential lead magnet, I love that concept because it's so meta. Because this thing about lead magnets, that a lead magnet is a lead magnet, but also all your content is a lead magnet. So basically everything is a lead magnet.
Yeah, so essentially, like before you can design your lead magnet, you have to design your ideal avatar, your ideal client. And I know that some business coaches will talk about, and every business coach is like, have an avatar, like, and it's like this like overused concept, like I love you. But like what an avatar is the avatar is the type of person that you want to work with. And so if you make,
I thought they were aliens.
Avatar, that was a good movie. But if you make the decision, you're like, okay, so I want to work with I want to work with personal trainers that are stuck in a gym, that want to take their business online, that are struggling to build traction, that have no idea how to use social media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I build this persona of this person that I want to work with, and there are multiple different tools you can use to do that. So you build this persona, and then all of your content should be speaking to that specific person. Now, the reason that most people are here right now is because they want to know, how do I design the ebook, or what video should I make that's going to really magnetize my clients? And I do think that there are longer form pieces of content that you can create. Like you can create a video series, or you can create a free PDF or a cheat sheet, or et cetera. Right. So before you think lead magnet, you have to know your person. And then once you know your person, then you think okay, now what's going to be what's a tasty treat that this person can't help but devour?
Okay. So we look at them like we're at a petting zoo and trying to figure out what treat they're going to like the most. Okay. So, and this, I'm still a little confused as to what this has to do with Big Blue Aliens, but I think we'll come back to that in a minute. What I wanted to touch on next was just the fact that as you're putting together this lead magnet, you need to know who you're targeting. And I would say, I just want to, this has kind of popped into my head. I mean, they call me the metaphor king. That's one of the things that people call me, one of many things that people call me. And for good reason, because I'm really good at metaphors. And one of the metaphors that just popped into my head is you're talking about lead magnets. And what do we all know about magnets? I mean, I know a lot about science too, and that is that opposites attract. So maybe once you put together your person that you're trying to market to, you try and attract them with exactly opposite of what they'd actually want.
That's interesting. That's super. Yeah, it's super polarizing, and I like it. Because okay, let's say as an example, what if they want to be successful online fitness coaches, that's my ideal client, but the opposite of that would be being stuck in a gym. So you could write a lead magnet that would be three secrets to three secrets to get you out of being stuck in a gym. That could be the title of your lead magnet. So you attract them with the opposite of what they want. It's polarizing. I like it. Because if they want to be free, but then your lead magnet is about getting out of jail, that will still attract them.
Yes. And getting out of jail is always a good thing in my experience. All right. So, Brian, what would you say are the things that just make an effective lead magnet? I think there's several things in there that are going to just really put the cherry on top as far as this type of a lead generation tool.
Okay. So I think the first thing, there's three things that I'm going to give you. Number two is the headline has to punch people in the face. So a really, really simple formula.
I like that. Yeah, it works every time.
It works every time. Yeah, you just got to punch people right in the face. So a really simple formula that I tell my clients is how to yay without boo. So an example would be how to attract clients without cold DMing. Or you could say how to lose weight without sacrificing pizza. Or you could say how to attract clients without cold calling. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's how to get something that they want without something that they don't want. It's a really simple formula, but it'll work really well if you want to attract your ideal type of client. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. I think that's super important where you throw something amazing out there. So how to get a Lamborghini and then without paying any money or something like that. That's the type of thing that somebody wants to see.
Exactly. And it's because people want, most people want to lose weight, but then they don't want to give up pizza. So if you can say you can lose weight and you don't have to give up pizza, they're going to be oh, interesting, right? That's going to draw them in. You can say how do you get a Lamborghini without paying money? People will be oh shit, I don't want to pay any money. That's awesome. You know what I mean? So you got to draw them in.
Okay, so that's number one. And number two, we want to do that first thing that you said and also the second thing that you said. So let's get on to number three.
So number three is you have to deliver on your promise. So a lot of people don't just do your lead magnet. You have to reverse engineer it. So be okay, so I'm going to design an ebook that's going to be how to eat or how to lose weight without eating pizza or without sacrificing pizza. And then that's your promise. Then you reverse engineer and you design the book to do that thing. So what would somebody have to do? What are the 5 steps that somebody would have to follow in order to lose weight without sacrificing pizza? And you give them the 5 steps and you do it for free. And you just kind of it doesn't have to be long. It can be short. It can be to the point. It can be sweet. Number two is your lead magnet has to be attracted to your ideal client. So once you know what your ideal client wants and what they don't want to give up, you get how to yay without boo, and you just make a title. And number three is deliver on your promise. So if you know exactly what your client wants and you design an ebook name for that person, then you reverse engineer it and you put the content in your ebook that is based on delivering that promise.
Yeah. Okay. So as a fitness guy and myself as a fellow JACKED individual, I think that as far as the covers go, I think, just a picture of me at the gym, like that's all you need. And it wouldn't matter what the subject material was. That alone would probably be able to sell it. And yeah, I think that would be probably the biggest takeaway from what you just said
Exactly,
there.
dude. Just take a jacked photo and that's it. That's all you got to do. You don't even got to just sell them a blank book and they're good. Yeah, that's it. That's
All
all you
right.
need.
There we go. It's the inspiration. And that's what I deal in mostly a lot of the time is just the inspiration. I mean, that's what people need. They'll be able to figure it out once they get there. So let's talk really quick here. We're coming into the home stretch here, but I want to talk types of lead magnets because everybody knows that magnets come in different shapes and sizes, and most of them are black for some reason. But that doesn't change the fact that when we're talking about internet stuff, that there are different types of lead magnets. So let's what would you say is your favorite type of lead magnet right now? Like you're just seeing just completely dominate the
I would
space
say
of the internet.
cheat sheets or short PDFs. And the reason I would say that is because they're
Ah,
super easy to make, Brad. Like I can make a cheat sheet in the next 30 minutes and I could post it online and I could get 20 to 50 leads. So it's like if you take your
wow.
promise, like how to lose weight without
Oh my
sacrificing
word.
pizza, you have 5 tips. You put those 5 tips on like a Canva sheet, like a spreadsheet, and you make it look all cool. And then you give it to a designer, and they make it look all
Yeah.
cool, and then bam, right? It's like literally that simple. Or even simpler, we could go back to my previous reference. You have your five
Yeah.
tips. You name how to lose weight without sacrificing pizza. You go to Fiverr. You hire somebody to design you a cheat sheet. You pay them $20. They get back to you a day later, and you have your cheat sheet. It's literally super simple, and easy to consume, and it's valuable. Or a short PDF because,
Yeah.
like again, you can write a short PDF in a day. Super valuable,
Yeah.
super easy. You start attracting clients towards you for your program. If you're going to design a lead
Yeah.
magnet, make sure you have a program to sell. Because if you start drawing in clients, but then you don't have anything to offer them, then if you send your lead
Mhm.
magnet to 50 people and then 5 of them are like, "Hey, what's next?" and you don't have anything,
Yeah.
then like that's kind of like you're shooting yourself in the foot,
That's really that would be lame. Yeah, I think that'd be more like shooting yourself in the face. I mean, man, if you didn't have a product or something to sell, that would be ridiculous. Come on. Okay, so cheat sheets, I love it. I think part of it too is it probably just really appeals to the fact that people don't like to put in the work, and if you give them a cheat sheet, then they're not going to have to put in the work because there's nothing for them to do at that point. So that's great. Okay. Great, Brian. This is fantastic, and I just, this is kind of a conversation with a fellow internet guru like that you are is just amazing, and I think we've provided so much value, especially me. You haven't done too bad yourself, but I think it's time that we talk to people about exactly how to create a lead magnet, which we've already kind of touched on, but just kind of we talked about making sure you got your the people exactly knowing of yourself who you want to talk to, and then you actually figure out what kind of problem you're going to solve. Now talk to me about that actually, before we move on. As far as the problem, like how do you address the problems that people have, because there's so many of them.
That's a good question, and I think the first thing you could do would be to ask your audience. So when I get any of my clients to design lead magnets, what I usually do is I get them to ask their audience. So choose a couple problems that you think you could solve, come up with a couple titles for ebooks, and then ask your audience. Like put up a poll on your Instagram story, put up a poll on your Facebook, and be like, "Hey, would you guys rather hear about how to lose weight without eating pizza, or how to lose 2 inches off your stomach without doing cardio? Like, what would you rather hear?" And then you just get people to vote, and then you give the audience what they want. So
Okay.
I think the best strategy is to come up with 2 different things and then get people to vote on it.
Yeah, I can see that working maybe for some audiences. I think though, kind of what we run into with the Brad Johnson show is that I think the audience doesn't even realize how many problems they have to begin with, and just their level of loserliness. Just hashtag loserliness is just all over. So I've kind of had to step in and figure it out for them, which is what I'm really good at anyway. So that worked out fine. Anyway, so Brian, the whole goal of this is to grow our email lists, and because we know that email lists allow us to email people with our digital mail. And so you talked a little bit about having your program in place before you actually do your lead magnet. Talk a little bit more about that, just what kind of program we're looking at, because there's a whole bunch of different things sort of that you could do. What would you recommend people do now as far as what they're
You
doing?
just got to solve somebody's problem. Like your program has to solve a problem. So if your lead magnet is, how to lose weight without eating pizza, then you like have a 90-day transformation program that walks somebody through the entire process. have a 90-day transformation program that like takes somebody from like where they're at right now to 20 pounds down, and they get to eat pizza the whole time. So your lead magnet should be an extension of your main program. And if it kind of like makes logical sense like that, when somebody consumes your lead magnet, then they're like, what's next? And you're like, oh, that's actually like the 90-day progression is like right here. And you just take somebody on the journey with them. So design a program kind of to fit the lead magnet. And that's kind of, I think that would be the best next step for anybody that's looking to design a program or product.
Perfect. And I love the 90-day thing, because I think that with 90 days, it's like the magic number where you can charge them a lot and still not have to actually put out much in the way of expense. So that is fantastic. Brian, my friend, you have delivered, as have I, in this episode of the Brad Johnson Show course. And so people are going to be able to get so much information. That's just awesome. Tell them, Brian, where they can check you out, because I want them checking you out, because you've got some amazing stuff. Not quite as amazing as what I've got, but it's still there. So give them the contact info for you and yourself.
Cool. Yeah. So just check me out on my Instagram at bmarkfit. I run everything through Instagram. That's also one of my taglines. It's like, I just help you build a business with organic social media. So no websites, none of that stuff. So check me out on Instagram, bmarkfit, and shoot me a message and tell me that you found me on the Brad Johnson Show.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll just be flooded with that. So better have your servers ready, Instagram, because a flood is coming from the Brad Johnson Show to bmarkfit. All right, so we'll put those links down in the description below. And Brian, anything else you want to leave the audience with before we go that I haven't pulled out of your head or just didn't care about asking?
Yeah, 100%. So the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is Canadians don't live in igloos. Our RCMP officers do ride around on horses, only in Ottawa though, and only by like the White House. We don't have a White House, we do really like maple syrup. So that's kind of like my final takeaways.
Okay, well, all right. You said White House, but then you said like that's in Washington D.C. So I think we'll work on the geography next time we talk. All right, thanks, Brian.
Thanks for listening to the Brad Johnson Show, where every episode we bring you tips, tricks, interviews, advice, and answers to fix the mess that is your life, while helping you stop being a loser and start winning in business, health, and your personal life. Show us your face, tweet us your tweets, and Insta your grams at Brad Johnson Show. The Brad Johnson Show. Winners only.